Oh, hello.
Ever since the beginning of YouTube, there have been personalities in internet history that have defined an era. Lonely Girl 15, the Angry Video Game Nerd, Keyboard Cat, Grumpy Cat, and of course, Doug Walker's nostalgia critic character. Doug Walker's movies, KICKASSIA, Suburban Nights, To Boldly Flee, they've been derided and made fun of, mocked. But I didn't want to take other people's word for it. I wanted to find out for myself why these Channel Awesome anniversary movies are so despised. And I didn't want to do it alone either. I wanted to study how someone who knows even less than I do about KICKASSIA would react to the movie. I made Gina watch it with me because I think there's something interesting about watching these without having been a mainline fan. Why did I pick this one? I picked this one because it was one of the shorter ones. There were others in this playlist I found, Channel Awesome Movies. There was a playlist that someone put up, and there were some 20-minute ones, but I wanted to do one of the ones that felt more like a feature film. The story centers on the nostalgia critic who decides to take over Massia, a micronation located in Nevada. Why? Because he can. Armed with his ragtag group of internet reviewers, the critic's plan is to overthrow the nation's founder, Kevin Baugh, and crown himself ruler. As the critic's reign descends into madness, the group's unity begins to unravel, a bunch of fights ensue, and after a mutiny happens, everything basically goes back to exactly the way it was before. When it comes to Channel Awesome and these anniversary movies, I knew I had a lot of catching up to do. So I listened to not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 different feature-length KICKASSIA commentaries conducted by Doug Walker, Rob Walker, a couple of the producers like Mike Mashad and Bhargav Dranamraju, and cast members like Linkara and Spoonie. But the most juicy ones by far were by Doug and Rob, who recorded their commentaries separately. So I'll be cluing you into some behind-the-scenes info I got from those commentaries and much more as we go along. But as far as our reactions to watching KICKASSIA for the first time, our reactions ranged from indifference. These people come from Channel Awesome, if you've ever seen. They're Angry Joe guy.
I've vaguely heard of these people, but I've never watched any of their stuff. It's not my kind of thing.
To confusion.
Why is he taking over Massia?
I don't know. He doesn't really explain it.
To annoyance.
This is just, I'm like...
What does it make you feel?
Like, I should be napping right now. I just need a better plot. There's too many characters. Wow, this person's in it, this person's in it, this person's in it. Wow.
To hopefulness.
I would never leave you, critic. I know that film brain.
He does have a little bit, like, of funniness.
Timing?
Yeah, good comedic timing. I saw where the jokes and the comedy that he was trying to do, but it wasn't funny enough because either the overacting was too sweaty, too hammy, or the joke would overstay its welcome.
There's the outline of an idea that's funny.
Yes.
But he doesn't hone it.
No.
Doesn't think it through to its funniest form. He just throws it at the movie without, what most people would do is take a funny idea and develop it.
It does look like fun, though.
Like if it was a different group of people, could be fun.
See, there was a little chuckle there. Honestly, I did like Lindsay Ellis's character a lot.
And I think it's because she looks like she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like she knows that this is ridiculous and she's not trying too hard. And the laughs were few and far between, but yes, we did actually laugh.
Cry, Santa cries, we all love.
Wait a second, what happened?
I don't know.
Little mates from school, are we? Breakfast a schoolgirl asking. What the hell?
What do you think?
It's terrible.
Why do I even care about this cheap internet film series that started back in 2010? Well, because it's interesting, because it's an internet anomaly, and mostly because I grew up making my own movies. From 6 years old all the way into my 30s, I've seen the whole spectrum of filmmaking. I've been on TV, I've written and directed 3 feature films, and now I'm approaching this deep dive with some experience. It would be so easy to just watch the movie, have an initial reaction, and then move on. But you know what? That's why I'm diving deep today. Because whether I like it or not, I relate to Doug Walker and the people at Channel Awesome for putting their passion into these movies. That guy with the glasses, later rebranded as Channel Awesome, was an online media website best known for hosting The Nostalgia Critic, a comedy review series created by Doug Walker. Founded in 2008 by Doug, his brother Rob Walker, and CEO Mike Massia, the site started as a platform for Doug's videos, but quickly expanded to include a variety of independent creators producing movie reviews, skits, and pop culture commentary. Known for its humorous, over-the-top style and collaborative anniversary films like KICKASSIA, the site became a major hub for internet-based entertainment, fostering a strong community of creators and fans. However, its success unraveled in 2018 after allegations of mismanagement, mistreatment, and a toxic work environment surfaced in the Not So Awesome document. These controversies led to an exodus of creators, widespread backlash, and a sharp decline in its reputation, marking the end of its prominence. However, I'll be focusing on information that directly relates to KICKASSIA today. When it comes to the plot about taking over Massia, first of all, I thought Massia was a made-up thing. Turns out it's a real micronation led by the very real Kevin Baugh. More on that in a bit. I also figured that Doug Walker had come up with the concept for this movie. Turns out the controversial CEO of Channel Awesome, Mike Massia, is the one who came up with it. You see, Doug had been late coming up with the concept for that year's anniversary film, and Massia had recently learned about Massia. So he emailed Kevin Baugh and asked if he'd be down to help bring the movie to life. This, of course, involved Kevin Baugh lending his house and his very interesting presence to the film.
I think the real investigation here is with the making of that was made by Bhargav.
Bhargav Raju was the chief executive producer at Channel Awesome, and that's quite an epic title to have, don't you think? He had also been a buddy of Doug Walker since their college days. His first appearance on the Nostalgia Critic show was as Ma T from Captain Planet. His last appearance in a Channel Awesome project was with Suburban Nights. Now, I'm not exactly sure why he left Channel Awesome, but I'll get to that when I cover that movie. Either way, he made this behind-the-scenes documentary that we're diving into now.
We would like to thank Doug for taking the middle, sacrificing his body.
Yeah, that's what Doug does, because he's the dancing monkey.
Well, anyways, we're here in Reno. Everything sucks.
The room, the hotel, the food, yeah, everything's actually phenomenal, but Bargo's sick, everything sucks.
It's interesting to hear Doug on his commentary track joking about how he punished any contributor who failed to bring their own weapon prop to the shoot. He did this by half-assedly buying them a crappy toy from Toys R Us. While he was at it, couldn't he just have bought everyone a freaking toy weapon and saved people a lot of hassle at the airports?
Apparently, I am on a no-fly list now. They had to make a few phone calls just to see if it was all right for me to fly. Now would be a good time to declare these assault rifles that I'm carrying. Madam, I'm going to Reno to film a short film. We're invading a short country, which I don't think that helped.
We're invading a short country.
I have, fake BB pellet plastic guns, with the orange tips. I almost missed my flight.
The guy had to transport fake weapons on an airplane.
Angry Joe wasn't the only one to have trouble at the airport. Phelan Porteous missed his flight at Denver Airport because the TSA thought his camera was a gun. I'm sure that TSA was just high, though.
I want to compare this, because I know this is meant to be comically large, but I want to see it's definitely larger. not by too much, but still pretty large.
Yeah, Doug would measure hat size.
I was wondering where they got Doug's M. Bison costume. I kind of figured that they either rented, purchased, or had one of the Channel Awesome contributors make it for him. It turns out that Doug's dad's orthodontist's assistant made the M. Bison costume. I guess she does that on the side, and it ended up costing Doug $600 all in.
This is a huge chunk of money. I don't care who you are.
Look at Angry Joe. He brought those weapons onto a plane. It's kind of cool seeing these people just being themselves, like normal people, because they're such over-the-top characters in the actual movie.
It's awesome. I loved watching him in Alone in Dungeon Siege, where he plays like an evil sorcerer.
Vegas and won about $1,000 or so.
He's totally stoked about that.
You won?
Yeah, he actually won.
I swear to God that the sheet of paper said 635.
checked it over many, many times.
Somebody else hold my bag because it was real heavy, and then we went through the last set of customs crap. This guy comes up and he's like, "Hey, stop. What you got in the bag? Dirty laundry. You want to open it up and smell it?"
Sorry, I've done this like 8 times today, and I'm slowly going
Well,
insane.
believe it or not, for all the trouble the second half gave me, the first half went well.
Okay, that's Chris. We just picked him up, and I'm going in to Radio Shack to pick up this DVD player. I'm really stressed out because all kinds of shit has been happening all day.
Yeah, but anyway, this Bargov guy, he probably wasn't even getting paid this whole time for all the trips back and forth, picking people up at the airport.
I've been picking up people for 10 hours straight, and it's like fucking Groundhog's Day.
I hope they at least paid the gas for this. Or is this guy paying out of his own pocket? Don't you wonder if everyone's paying for their own food and drink that night?
Okay, there's an answer for this. The only meals covered were breakfast and lunch. So yes, they were all most likely paying for their own food and drink that night. We'll dive into the lack of suitable reimbursement for the channel awesome contributors shortly. But here's where Doug addresses the meals they were willing to cover during filming.
So breakfast is covered. On the days that we are shooting there, we are covering lunch as well. So probably, I think the only thing they have, I hope you like Quiznos or Taco Bell, because that's all they have.
Because the closest one is like 10 miles away, and that's all there is for 100 miles.
That's all you need. KICKASSIA actually represents a time when everyone was more optimistic. This was actually the best experience, it seems like they had with all the anniversary movies. The real trouble began with Suburban Nights On, and I guess I'll cover those movies soon. But it's funny to see them all on this first anniversary movie, clear-eyed and bushy-tailed, and obviously willing to do stuff for very free.
It's like, you've reached Crater Summit. You are now 10,000 feet up in the air. Only the eagles dare to climb here. And then you're going down and down and down, and there's like crazy-ass people like doing like 60 miles in this crazy canyon, where there's like giant cliffs on either side of the road, like vultures that are staring at our car like, yeah. And then just down the road, in the middle of this fucking desert, there's a boat. And this is why I ordered Jameson.
I just get the sense that Doug and Rob are, they love this glorious complaining. They feel like it makes it more of a movie experience if they complain like little bitches. Buffy, you understand. Why am I doing this? You think I'm an idiot. Okay. It's also an odd thing to see like the same camera quality that's in the movie as in the behind the scenes. In the behind the scenes, it's more forgivable. In the movie itself, you're just like, this looks like piss paper. You know what's funny? This is the lack of focus in this camera, yet there's like 3 or 4 cameras rolling right now. I mean, this was the best angle. Lindsay Ellis. She had some interesting things to say about this day of filming, I believe, or this day of planning.
In the Not So Awesome document, Lindsay Ellis touched on her misgivings about how Doug, Rob, and Mike Machad handled the anniversary movies, specifically in terms of meals. First of all, I do feel the way management approached the anniversaries from the get-go was inappropriate in a way that was never rectified. I was in my 3rd semester at USC when the 2nd anniversary happened, and the first real moment of concern came at the hotel in Reno on the set of KICKASSIA, when Doug was explaining the schedule and I asked a logistical question, namely what his plan was for craft services. Doug actually laughed at me like I was some princess expecting special treatment. Noah Anteweiler, who was also there, explained that craft services is generally a given at any shoot, even student films. Only then was the suggestion taken seriously. Yeah, I mean, this complaint is completely valid. I mean, you've got a movie that takes place in the desert for long periods of time with a lot of outdoor action sequences, but craft services were not even on Doug, Rob, or Machad's minds. That's beyond inept. Ellis goes on to speak about the dangerous levels of incompetence. This was a set with more than 30 people, and they did not have food or water until they were told to do so. To my memory, they didn't even get around to it until day 2. To be clear, inexperience was not the issue. arrogance was. Everyone who gets into film has a learning curve, but Doug and co barged in like they had nothing to learn, and this resulted in a variety of issues.
Alright, so we're passing around the Sarah Palin wig. This is how Bargo looks in it. We kind of think he looks like Sanjaya. Yeah.
You're like an authentic rock, man.
I don't know what that looks like. Guy that plays drag.
It's almost like you're some kind of Japanese,
Oh my god, Emo Jones! No. Yeah, that is great.
Look at Lindsay. She's just like, do you all have to wear it? Like, there's this level of, can you please not wear it?
So what I gathered from the full-length commentaries of Mike Machad and Spoonie, everyone was staying at a casino hotel in Reno. The room arrangements were 2 people to a room. Shooting days were from about 6:30 until 7 or 8 at night. Imagine doing that without the promise of water out there in the desert, let alone not getting paid for that or the crossover videos that everyone was basically expected to make. The crossover videos were where different creators would feature cameos or collabs with other creators. This was done so that the CEOs could recoup costs from the anniversary movie budget. Again, Lindsay Ellis touches on this in the Not So Awesome document. She states, "And while we're here, Machad expecting producers who were independent contractors to hand over their privately written and filmed crossover videos during the anniversaries to help recoup the costs of production while themselves getting no compensation was repugnant and exploitative. I regret not having pushed back more against this."
Matthew, say something in your accent.
Hi.
No, that's not enough. Say, I want to be a lady in the flower shop.
But if he won't say it, I will.
I want to be the lady in the...
I want to be a lady in a flower shop.
Okay.
How's that?
That's better, but that's like so gruff that you overpower your accent.
Angry Joe directing Linkara. Kevin Baugh's house.
Our targets of the invasion.
Wow,
There's the sign.
Oh my gosh!
Holy shit, there he is! He just come out and get it! He came out in his uniform.
Wow, this guy's serious.
I'm just going to read these trivia notes from IMDb. Molossia is an actual micronation and minor tourist attraction. Kevin Baugh allowed the 20-person crew to film in his home. Okay, see, I thought that guy was just Doug Walker's dad this whole time.
I think that's Doug Walker's dad. Well, his dad's the best actor so far. Well, the dad is the most natural, though.
I know. Which that turns out not to be his dad, though.
Oh, well.
He's in a documentary called Micronations. Sovereignty, borders, and community, passports, constitutions, and anthems. All these topics swirl together in this feature film exploration of micronations. Why did I think that was Doug's dad this whole time? Doug Walker's dad. Okay. That's Doug Walker's dad. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, he looks like he had Doug as a son. Okay. This Kevin Baugh, Molossia. The official website of the Republic of Molossia. Wow. What? His Excellency, the President, Master of the Ship of State, Servant of the People. His Excellence, President Grand Admiral Colonel Dr. Kevin Baugh, President and Raish of Molossia, Protector of the Nation and Guardian of the People. Wow. His Excellency. Can you imagine being called Your Excellency? You know, that'd be kind of cool. Walking around your own republic. His Excellency is the leader of the Molossian nation and the Molossian people. I can't believe this is real. His Excellency was first and foremost a military man, having spent much of his adult life in the service of the Molossian Armed Forces. There's an Armed Forces in Molossia? Oh, okay, no wonder this guy was so, he was the most natural in the movie. It's because this guy's a badass. He owns a republic. The president maintains friendly relations with many famous international celebrities. There's a picture of Jack Black here. Kevin Baugh is the hero of the movie, in my humble opinion. The real-life guy is a character in his own right, and he was also very confident in the role he was playing. For instance, when he was playing Fritz von Baugh, Doug asked him if he planned on doing an English or German accent, and Kevin simply replied, "No." Doug had also wanted Baugh to be more manic and over the top like everyone else, but Kevin stayed firm in his belief that his character should be in stark contrast to everyone else's over the top antics. That's why he stands out as an actually good part of KICKASSIA.
If you've ever made films when you were a kid or as you got older, you can feel a little bit of charm with this one. It is an interesting feat that he got all these people there. This was a big undertaking.
The other standout of the movie, as mentioned earlier, was Lindsay Ellis. She was the most measured with her performance, and wouldn't you know it, Doug was disappointed with her nonchalance at the beginning of the movie. The way she underplayed her role was what made her less cringy than everyone else. That's the thing I'm gathering about Doug. He really is the opposite of subtlety in every way. Many injuries were sustained over the course of production. Don't you love how this sounds like a legit big movie, but it's really just KICKASSIA, and they're making it sound so important. Don't be mean, don't be mean. Notably, Jason Pollara twisted both ankles. Brad Jones sliced his finger open on the metal insignia on the Nostalgia Critic's hat, and cinematographer and camera operator Rob Walker gashed his knee on a rock while filming The Charge in Part 2. They make it sound so epic, like they're filming Napoleon or something.
Are you okay?
You just hit the camera. How do you feel?
I feel like shit. Get the thing out of my phone.
It's a good one.
Rob Walker gashed his knee on a rock while filming The Charge in Part 2.
Oh no, he sustained injuries while filming.
I'm gonna get the first aid kit.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine.
According to Rob Walker on his commentary, he felt his credit as the director of photography was almost a joke because he shot only 3/4 of this film due to his injury. Oh yes, the gashed knee.
Remember Ashitaka from
Oh, ooh. You guys got some, like, it feels like that guy's got like diabetes. That looks like worse than usual from a fall. See, this movie has more interest. Like, it's just so much more fulfilling to watch than KICKASSIA the movie. I'm out of milk.
Principal photography lasted 4 days, with all of the outdoor scenes being shot in 1 day. Wow, I bet a lot of sunburns occurred.
Can't you just feel everyone's skin burning as we speak? A lot has been said about Doug's self-centeredness and obsession with himself, you know, constantly propping himself up, being in his own world. But having said all that, I actually think, you know, the one thing I'll say about him is he commits to the bit. He definitely is the character the whole time. The character you see in his show, he does bring to the screen.
I can't help but compare Doug Walker with James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd. Both of them made feature film iterations of their flagship characters. It begs the question, who did better at bringing their character into the format of a feature film? I think Doug Walker is a little better.
Actor.
A little bit better actor, like at least in terms of just KICKASSIA versus the AVGN movie. I think in the early days, James Rolfe was quite good in the role of the angry video game nerd.
Yeah.
The anger felt real. He was legitimately funny. As time went on, he got stiffer and stiffer. Especially that movie, he was so stiff. He was out of his element. I will say that this seemed like the Nostalgia Critic, and it did seem like he gave some energy throughout. He didn't seem like a shell of himself. So I have to give the win to Doug Walker as far as acting this movie versus the AVGN movie.
I have to agree with you.
I gotta look into why Bargov left Channel Awesome beyond problematic behind the scenes issues with the other guys, but here he seems like a very down to earth guy, jovial enough. Seems like he likes to have a good time. 31, 32, 33, 35 push-ups.
How the fuck you got on top of a car? Oh nope, he's still in the fucking haze.
Oh, look at that.
I love how he emerged into frame there.
On Spoonie's commentary, he talks about his first full day filming and how he was so exhausted and in pain that night. He had promised to do a collab with Linkara, and Linkara kept pushing to do one right after a full-ass day of filming. Spoonie snapped and refused to do so and ended up going right to bed. He did end up doing one a day or so later. But I can see why Spoonie refused that first night. He wasn't getting paid for KICKASSIA or the crossovers, and he probably had very little water that day on top of it all.
This production could fail at any time.
Piggyback.
Don't worry, we will get this done with. This production will be saved. Saved by you brave people.
Looking around the room. See, guys, a woman is on my back. Let's not forget that, okay? You're all seeing this, right? I always feel like Rob's eyes are looking in two different directions and yet staring through my soul, which, don't do that. Don't.
But they saw me, so Superman broke in, and I got back here! Oh my god, I can't believe I did that one take.
This guy is way more tolerable as a real person than as Film Brain, who, yeah, he seems like a more genuine... Again, all these people seem cool enough when they're not in character.
Like most of the contributors of Channel Awesome, I know very little about Film Brain, aka Matthew Buck. What I do know is that he traveled from the UK to make this movie. His show, Bad Movie Beatdown, offered humorous, insightful critiques of bad films, blending sarcasm and analysis. The show's simple production and its ties to Channel Awesome earned Film Brain a cult following. Hearing Doug and Rob talk about it, it seems like everyone was surprised by Matthew Buck's enthusiasm while acting in KICKASSIA. Buck's fans were also thrown off a little bit because up until this point he had never acted like he did in KICKASSIA. I really didn't like most of the performances in this movie, Buck's included. He was so over the top and manic. However, the dude in real life seems very nice, and he was obviously putting a lot of effort into memorizing his lines and giving the role his all. It really shows how far the Channel Awesome contributors went to make these movies possible.
How do you feel after that?
You did well, sir. You did well.
Did you see that mannequin sitting in the room? This guy, yeah, I want to see the documentary that he's in.
So we are here to buy the coins from Massia. Here's Mr. Ba.
It's all good. So basically we have four different types of coins. You have the one, Valora, that's our basic unit of currency is the Valora.
Okay.
And the backside, okay, it's got a thing on it, but...
You want to ask his kids, like, what's it like having your dad be the president of a nation? And this is what they were like when they were younger. They can do whatever the hell they want, that's what. Look at this kid. I guess they can read a person well. They know that Doug's slappable. I love how the mom's not stopping them at all. Look, she's just like, keep going. Did they pay? Did they pay Kevin Baugh and his family for doing this? If not, wow. Look at that guy in the background, just questioning why he's there.
You know what I want to do? I want to read some comments for this. It would be interesting to get a lay of the land for user reviews on IMDb. I have read a wide range of viewpoints on this movie, and honestly, I don't want to read all that. The horror, that sounds interesting. Makes you Bull's work look good. Over the top, unbearable fan service. All right, well, oh, KICKASSIA. I love this. Why? Another one, less original. Why? Well, I guess it's safe to say that IMDb was not too happy with this movie. This movie changed my life? Oh, I don't want to read all that, but I'm gonna have to. I am Alex, a man who had lost his way in a world filled with shadows of past failures and lost dreams. Each day felt heavy, burdened by a weight I could not shake off. The walls of my small apartment echoed with the silence of my solitude, a constant reminder of my loneliness and despair. Whoa, this is getting deep. One fateful day, as I mindlessly explored online, a movie called KICKASSIA caught my eye. Intrigued by the title, I decided to give it a chance. Little did I know that this simple decision would alter the course of my life in ways I never imagined. Oh, okay. Is this Doug? As I watched KICKASSIA, I was drawn into a world where ordinary people became heroes, where courage and determination triumphed over adversity. The characters faced impossible odds, yet they stood strong, united in their quest for justice and change. The movie's message of resilience and hope struck a chord within me, stirring something long dormant in my heart. For the first time in a while, I felt a glimmer of optimism, a spark of possibility amidst the darkness that had consumed me for so long. Yeah, I don't want to make fun of someone who found hope in this, but I can't. This is kind of, well, it's a little dramatic, okay? Inspired by KICKASSIA, I began to make small changes in my life. I reconnected with old friends, sought help for my struggles, well, that's good,
and reignited my passion for art, a long-forgotten love. The film had breathed new life into my weary soul, reigniting a flame of determination and purpose. If this is true, that you see, it shows any movie can move you. You know, movies move people, I guess. I just can't believe it's KICKASSIA. Day by day, I started to rebuild my life, volunteering at a local charity, reaching out to my community, and creating art that spoke of my journey and newfound hope. KICKASSIA had become more than just a movie to me. It had become a lifeline, a beacon guiding me out of the darkness. Years passed, and I looked back on my transformation with gratitude and pride. KICKASSIA had been my catalyst for change, my source of inspiration in the midst of despair. It had turned my sadness into strength, my despair into determination, and my brokenness into a story of resilience and renewal. KICKASSIA did? As I sat in my now warm and inviting apartment surrounded by friends and loved ones, I knew that KICKASSIA had not only entertained me, but had also saved me. It had shown me that even in the bleakest of moments, there is always a chance for redemption, growth, and a new beginning. If that's true, I say good on you, mate. And if that's just Doug, I say shame on you. I think the dysfunction and sibling rivalry between Doug and Rob Walker is what left me with the biggest impression while researching KICKASSIA. It all comes down to their feature-length commentaries. Between the two of them, Rob Walker is the bigger blowhard. What I found striking was just how much shit he would talk about his brother Doug. At first I was like, okay, this guy is at least aware that he's not a good cinematographer. Self-awareness is a plus. He acknowledges the dust on the lens, the terrible exposure, all that stuff. But then he also likens himself to Sam Raimi in terms of being kinetic with the camera. Dude, please don't do that. Whatever, disillusions aside, it's crazy just how much he calls Doug an amateur hack on his commentary. Which, okay, fine, I get it, but it's almost as if he thinks he, Rob Walker, deserves all the praise and could somehow make everything 100 times better if he were the actual director.
There's this thing called post-production, and Doug, who is a hack sometimes, just does not understand this concept. Yeah, hack auteur. And to this day, that is my biggest regret about this. I don't know what his deal is. I don't know why he can't see the obvious. Whatever. I suppose he's the auteur, and if you question his authority, he goes into a conniption fit. I think he actually really does think he's M. Bison sometimes. He tried banishing me. So then basically we didn't talk for a week, and then I suppose it's settled now just because we agree to disagree, which is basically a nice way of saying that, I'm right and he's wrong. I had a shot that was even crazier, that was just going everywhere and zooming in embargo, but Doug just wanted to do it with the more low-key shot, so I think the crazier shot would have been better. Again, hack auteur. Yeah, I think these shots, some of these were Doug's. They look a little lopsided.
I feel like it's necessary to talk about my views on Doug Walker before I did all this research versus my views on him after. I truly had no respect or interest in him as a creator before I looked into KICKASSIA and Channel Awesome. However, I couldn't help feeling like the guy deserves a little bit of respect. Don't get me wrong, he's also inept and complacent and had a large role in the downfall of Channel Awesome back in 2018. But it's also sort of impressive how long he's been putting stuff out since his debut on YouTube back in 2007. I know the more cynical people out there in the comment section will argue that, well, of course it's easy to put that much stuff out when it's shit. But you see, those people are usually not content creators who make a living doing this, let alone putting this much stuff out for 18 years. While researching Doug, I stumbled across a very early stunt he pulled, which got him featured on a show called Extreme Quitters. Who hasn't had the fantasy of quitting their job in a grand and spectacular way? I was curious as to the backstory behind this video. Doug addresses why he quit his job as a maintenance man during a live stream he did a few years ago.
But the guy I worked under was constantly trying to get me fired. Again, he would come to me and smile, be like, hey, how you doing? And I'm just like, I know what you're trying to do. So that was more for him, and he was in that cafeteria room.
Whatever the takeaway is here, I believe that he has stayed true to himself in the 18 years he's been doing this. Am I a fan? Nah. And is it too early to really have my full thoughts on his anniversary films? Yeah, I have at least 2 more that I'm dreading to watch, Suburban Nights and To Boldly Flee. I gotta say though, I am curious. How bad could it be? If you want more insights into KICKASSIA, check out my first time movie reaction on my other channel, Dunn Reacts. You can also hear an in-depth discussion about KICKASSIA on my podcast channel, Duncast. See you next time.